If you are just joining us, this is iPower 102.7 FM. And this is the first edition of Political Perspective, a program packaged to slice, dice, and clinically analyze events in our political settings in our country today. My name is ALABA Adeyemi. Once again, I welcome you. In the last 1 week, many events took place in our country, but some of the most important event that has taken place in our country in the last 1 week is the issues in our aviation sector. A few days ago, popular Nigerian Fuji artist K1 The Ultimate was involved in an altercation at an airport in Abuja, where he was prevented from boarding a flight, and a lot of issues has actually taken place after that. Yesterday, another lady who boarded an Akwa Ibom Airport air flight was also involved in another altercation with air hostesses and security personnel of the airport. According to reports, the passenger of the Ibon Air aircraft is currently sitting in detention as we speak. Ms. Emerson behaved in a manner that is considered to be unruly. However, today we shall be looking at this event and other issues surrounding customer services as it relates to our airports and our airlines in Nigeria. To join this discussion with me this morning is no one else but a public affairs analyst and news practitioner, Mr. Akin Adebayo. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you, let's start like this. What is your general opinion about the events leading to the prevention of the popular Fuji musician, that is K1, from boarding the aircraft from Abuja to Lagos? You are familiar with the story. What is your general perception of that particular incident?
Well, thank you very much, presenter. Well, like we all know, the Nigerian system allows so many things to take place unchecked. Now, we over-celebrate, should I say, public figures. I think that has been the bedrock of what we are experiencing now in the country. Now, I begin to ask myself, why would somebody in his right frame of mind decide to obstruct and stand before a taxing airplane? Why is he that so confident of doing, or should I say, exhibiting such act? It's because he sees himself as one of the elites, as one of the big shots in the Nigerian system. Ideally, you cannot expect somebody that is not of such status to behave in such manner.
But as regards the matter of choice, the customer is supposed to be always right. Do you think that the owners of ValueJet airline overdid or overshot the matter in this particular incident?
Well, when you look at the video that went viral, the footage of the video that went viral, to my own understanding, even Value Airline, they've not actually acted in a manner that they should have acted. Now, how do I mean? Somebody obstructed, not just that you destroyed the aircraft. I begin to imagine the kind of people that were in the aircraft. Now, I'm very sure that day, according to what we had, there was a delay of 40 minutes when the plane ought to have taken off. Now, he has used his own act of big manism to now obstruct the easy flow of other persons on the aircraft. Now, it affects business. I can equally assure you, maybe some people are equally going for medical checkups or what have you. Now, all these things we are held at a stamp because of one person. Like I said, ValueJet ordinarily should have, from my own perspective, they could have gotten him arrested. If he had been arrested, this issue would have been resolved by now. But appealing to him, trying to speak to him to calm down, what have you, is not applicable in this context. Ideally, you should have gotten him arrested and pressed charges against him, because what he did, if you look at it very, very well, transcend him just exhibiting his big manism. He also went as far as saying, pouring, according to what we heard from the captain of the of the plane, that he poured a particular substance on him. Actually, we are yet to establish the content of the substance that he actually poured on him. But of course, customer service made us understand that even if you are boarding a plane, you are not expected to go into the aircraft with anything. If it is water, there's no water for you to take right there on airborne. Anything you so desire is right there airborne. So why should you now, I don't know, the pretense or these guys that you are, I begin to ask myself, what kind of water was he actually carrying according to his claim that
it
was
the water of life?
well, that is left for those that actually want to, should I say, go deeper into the content of the
gentleman involved in this incident has actually apologized. Do you think that the apology is sufficient to claim of the infractions that he committed on that day?
Well, for him to have apologized, I see it as a fast move on his own side. I want to believe that he must have been advised, must have been counseled, that the best thing he can do at this point in time is for him to apologize. because he might not, at the instance when he was behaving in such unruly manner, he might not know the implication of what he was doing. I think after he now left the place, maybe he was now told, sir, what you did, but probably maybe a particular part of the discussion was open to him and now went through it. That look, what you did is a criminal offense. Because what he did was a complete criminal offense. In fact, in senior crimes, like we always say, he would have been arrested and charged for, plain hijacking. With what he did, if you want to be in a senior crime, like we always said.
In some European countries, such act is labeled as an act of terrorism.
Oh.
While in Nigeria, there's an existing law that if someone is found guilty of obstructing an aircraft from taking off, he is liable of a jail term of at least not less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you think that he should at least be made to face the wrath of the law after he had apologized?
Well, like I said, apology at times could be acceptable under some particular circumstances. But under this one, there is a provision for such act. Now, what I'm talking about is Section 459A of the Criminal Code Act of Nigeria, obstructing aircraft. It states, any person who by any unlawful act obstructs, causes an alteration to be made in the course of or in any way whatsoever, hinders or impedes the movement of any aircraft which is in motion or in the flight over any aerodrome, is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to imprisonment for 2 years. That's the part of the condition we are talking about here. Like you rightly observed, in the senior crime, that is maybe other American and European countries, it would have been charged for terrorism. What he did that particular day, to the best of my own knowledge, going by what we just read, is more of a misdemeanor. So his apology, though might be acceptable, but there must be a deterrent. It is high time we check this big mannerism of a thing. I could remember he said, he was asking, do you know who I am? I begin to like, is it because of, he's one of the most highly recognized entertainer in Nigeria? That's why he's
not just an entertainer. That is what I will premise my next question on.
It's all right.
This gentleman has been the official, more or less the official singer for the current president. At virtually all his events, he's always present, and they appear to have a personal.
Saying that, do you know who I am? It means that that person is having one influence or the other. Of course, it's an established fact that is very, very close ally of the president. But that does not mean that he should not start misbehaving in an unruly manner. But I must equally say this. Like when I was involved in somebody, I told him that illiteracy is worse than HIV. To the best of my own knowledge, I think what he exhibited in that context was the highest level of illiteracy. Even if you know the president, that doesn't mean you should start misbehaving. So I don't think the president himself would have tolerated such unruly act. And I think the apology that he made, I think transcends maybe him just being convinced. I think there must have been a kind of warning from higher authority. And one that person called apologized on his behalf, whereby he mentioned the president, person of MC Oluomo, is directly said that the president should forgive him. So which means that probably the president heard about it and he was not pleased at all with such act. I think so. Is closer with the president to a large extent. I want to believe that shouldn't have made him to overstep the board regarding the way he behaved at the airport. Thank you.
If you are just joining us, this is iPower 102.7 FM, Emurele Owo. And the program you are listening to is Political Perspective, where we look into burning national issues in our political space. We'll be right back.
Nọ́mbà tẹ pẹ̀lú bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ wọlé ẹ tó bá fẹ́ pọ̀ ní wà jáde kúrò wà jáde ó yá come there 081 65 52 4699.
You're welcome back. Still with us is Mr. Akin Adebayo, a public affairs analyst and a media practitioner. Let us look at the incident surrounding the arrest and incarceration of Miss Comfort Emerson, a passenger on Ibom Air yesterday. What is your observation? I asked you, as regards K1, about your observation about the incident surrounding is a prevention from boarding the value jet flight. This is a different airline now, with a different set of directors and air hostesses and personnel. What is your impression about the drama that played out yesterday and how she landed behind bars?
Thank you very much, Presenter. Well, whenever I want to discuss an issue of this nature, we cannot separate it from each other. We're talking about airlines here. I must equally make you to understand that if Kwam 1 were to be on Ibom airline and it probably behaved in such unruly manner, the same treatment meted at him at Value Jet would have repeated itself on Ibom airline because of his personality, because of his status in Nigeria. That is one. Now, looking at the person of K1 and the lady that was harassed in Code this time around along Ibom airline, it still brings about the issue of personality here. It brings about the issue of big manism that has actually grounded this country to the level it found itself. Some people believe that they are above the law. Some people believe that I know this, I know that. Some people believe that they are very, very influential. And I think that is taking, should I say, a terrible dimension in the Nigerian system. Now, the lady in question, what happened, according to what we had, according to the footage we saw, has to do with maybe her offering her phone. She refusing to off her phone and stuff like that. And she was bundled out. Now, in case of K1, K1 was yet to be on board. But this lady now, she's yet to be on board. And even if she is, she was dragged down to the extent that her top was torn. And still that was not enough. She was arrested and detained at Kirikiri maximum prison. I begin to ask myself, why Kirikiri? Is there no other station that she can be taken to? Why Kirikiri? Now, why did they set to meta such treatment on that lady and allow K1 to go scot-free? It still borders down, it brings us back to the issue of big manism. That is preferential treatment in this matter we are discussing here. So, which to me is a
Mr. Akin,
yes, sir.
Do you think that we have a body shaming culture? It appears that in most instances, when women are caught doing something that is not proper, most of the time we see a situation whereby they are undressed. There is that urge to undress the woman. Maybe a lady is caught shoplifting. It appears that the first thing that our people want to do is to remove her dress. Is there something in our culture that makes our people tend to behave in that manner?
Well, I wouldn't say there is anything of that nature in our culture that makes our people to behave in such manner. If I'm not mistaken, our culture has been one of the most culture that regards women so much. But I don't know, probably the spontaneous action that takes place whenever a woman is involved in act that people assume to be criminal. I don't know why they go to that extent. Of course, you are very much correct. We've seen, footages whereby whenever a woman is caught maybe in any act that is as presumed to be criminal in nature, the next thing is to undress her. And most of the people that do such thing are the men. So I wouldn't know, maybe, you know, it could be very, very funny at times, because it is the men that normally do such thing. Like, I watched a particular footage yesterday, as it was a kind of maybe British Airways, a British airline or thereabout. You know, that lady, she was putting a kind of bikini, and she walked into the airline, and the manager walked up to her and said, "Look, cover yourself." She even gave her a kind of duvet, but she said no. At least that she wants to go. The man said, "Look, there are children airborne. Just try to cover." She insisted. To my amazement, it was the men that were on airborne that were saying that, "Look, leave her alone. What's the big deal? Maybe they are having a swell time. I wouldn't know."
Swell time.
Exactly. Maybe they're having a swell time. I wouldn't know. They were just insisting that, "Look, let her be." But the hostess insisted that she must cover herself. To my amazement, it was the same men that took the duvet from the hostess and covered the lady. So I wouldn't know. You know, ladies or women gender as a whole, there are some features that are very attractive to men. Probably because of maybe they were caught in the act of maybe any criminal act in code. The next thing for a man to, let's see what is underneath. You understand? And before Jack Robinson, they've torn her clothes.
Please let us pick this call. Let us respond to this caller, then we'll go back to our discussion. Hello. Hello. Okay, that call dropped. If you want to join this conversation, you can call iPower 102.7 FM on 08165524699. You can continue now. Hello. 08165524699. Hello. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay. We get your points now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will allow our guests to respond to that question which you have asked. Are we in a lawless country? Using K1, who is an artist, and the instance of Miss Emerson as a study case. Mr. Akiadebayo, would you say that we are in a lawless country based on this precedent?
Well, we are not in a lawless country. It's just unfortunate and a pity that we tend to adjudicate or apply the law to some set of persons and allow the other person to go scot-free. Like the instances cited by the person that just called in now, you know, and as God will have it, it's just maybe some few days intervals.
Yes.
So these are fresh matters. It's the burning issue in the root sense of it. Now, that was what I said the other time, that the issue of big manism is what actually took place between the case of K1 and the lady Emerson. The issue of big manism, no more, no less. But we are in a lawless country. But the executor of the law is the major problem we are having here. Like I quoted the other time, the Criminal Act concerning when an aircraft is being obstructed. I mean, it's an established act that we all could see, we all can assess it. But what about its implementation. That's where the problem is. Like I said the other time, if K1 were to be on Ibom Air, the same treatment given to him at Value Jet would have been meted out to him again at Ibom Air.
Are you saying that if it was K1, Alhaji Wasiu Ayinde,
Yeah.
who actually committed the exact infraction that Miss Comfort Emerson committed yesterday on Ibom Air, that she would not have been dragged down the plane, or he would not have been dragged down the plane, neither would his clothes have been torn? Is that your position?
In fact, when we are talking about infractions here, if you put side by side the infraction committed by K1 and Lady Emerson, it is like heaven to earth. K1 committed a more grievous infraction compared to what the Lady Emerson committed. What did the lady do? According to what we had, she was operating her phone airborne, and she was out to switch it off. But in the case of K1 went as far as pouring a substance on the pilot that is to fly the jet. Do you know that even as a pilot, or maybe as captain of the plane, you must be in your right frame of mind. You must be in your right senses. Emotionally, psychologically, you must be balanced to fly the plane, because the life of every person airborne is in the pilot's hand. And this guy went ahead to pour something on her. I mean, K1 committed more grievous infractions compared to what Emerson committed. But like I've always said, big manism, influential people is what we are battling with, and that's what has brought us to this level.
Now, that's your answer. Will take me to the next question. My next question is, if you were Miss Emerson right now, what would you be doing? Or let me say, if Miss Emerson was your sister, because she's now sitting behind bars, what moves would you be making right now?
What? If Emerson were to be my sister, of course, the next thing is to seek redress. And like I've always said, no matter what you people might have cooked up, maybe the crew members of the Ibom Air, no matter what they might have cooked up, under cross-examination, facts will emerge. So the best thing is to seek redress. Then the case, that you press charges against Ibom Air. Because fine, she must have done something. What about the issue of turning her clothes? Is that not even worse compared to what she did? Okay, she was operating her phone, and the was equally raised that she wanted to use the fire extinguisher to hit the air hostess, which is yet to be established. But two cases were established here now. Now they alleged her of operating her phone, and in her own case, she was stripped naked. We begin to see what we shouldn't see. Her private part was exposed. So which one is more contentious in this matter? To me, Ibom Air is just trying to play fast one by first of all making the arrest, pressing charges. But that doesn't mean that when they get to the court, and going to win, they're going to win the case. I know. I doubt as much as I could. So to me, if I had to be our elder brother, the next thing is to press charges. Let's take the case to court, and from there we know what to do. Thank you.
Yes, my people, if you are still listening to us this morning, this is iPower 102.7 FM. We are in Emurele or War, and the program you are listening to is Political Perspective. We will be back shortly.
So the King of the Jews.
Welcome back. Listeners at home, you can join this conversation by calling us on 08165524699. You can call the studio line 08165524699, and you'll be able to air your opinion on these burning issues that we are discussing this morning. Let us leave the aviation sector and go to another issue that has been raised by the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal. Yesterday, the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who is a prominent member of the Obedient Movement and the Labour Party, raised an opinion on a national television program yesterday where he claimed that the former governor of Anambra State was the actual winner of the election that took place in 2023. What's your response to that?
You see, at times when I listen to conversations of this nature, I mean, it sounds so very, very funny. Well, without missing words, Babachir Lawal happens to be a prominent figure in Nigeria, a former SGF, and presently one of the major stakeholders in Labour Party. Of course, he wouldn't have said anything less. You know, there has been this advocacy from various quarters, human rights organizations, and what have you, that Peter Obi won the election. But now, after the whole election, a result was declared in favor of the current president. Now, they were not satisfied. I mean, both Peter Obi and Atiku. And they pursued the case. And judgment was dispensed in favor of the current president. So I don't know the angle at which Babachir Lawal is speaking from. Maybe it's having another result completely different from the one presented at the tribunal. I wouldn't know. But what I just know about Babachir Lawal is this. I think he's hell-bent on bringing down this government, which is his own opinion, which is his own intention. Because we are talking about, during the primaries, in fact, prior to the primaries, when the current president was shopping for whom to run with, he actually showed interest. Being a Christian from the northern part of Nigeria, he was expecting that probably he would be more favored in that context. But unfortunately, it was dropped and Shettima was picked. So to me, I see the kind of him spewing venom from the angle or from the perspective of him not to have been allowed to be the running mate to the current president. So if anything it says, I think should be subject to a kind of political scrutiny. We should not take it with seriousness. It's speaking from a political point of view. So and when it comes to political discussion of this nature, you are allowed to say anything.
Let me come in here. In the case of Peter Obi before the petition tribunal, the election petition tribunal, and even up to Supreme Court, many legal minds have said that there was nowhere in his case where Obi himself claimed that he won the election. That the cases that he took to court were the cases of the fact that Bola Tinubu was not qualified to contest for the election because he had drug charges in the US. That Shettima was not qualified to be vice president because he had double nomination. That the court should also interpret the fact that the winner of the election did not win in the FCT, the portion of the electorate that said 2/3 and the FCT, 2/3 of the 36 states and the FCT. Those are the demands. Is it possible to ask the court to answer prayers that you do not present before the court?
Yeah, thank you very much. Number one, the court is not a Father Christmas that will give you what you did not demand for. It is what you take to the court that the court will adjudicate on. Now, going by what you just said now, I mean the prayers of Peter Obi is completely different from what Babachir Lawal is speaking. Babachir Lawal is speaking from the angle of Peter Obi to have won the general election by virtue of number of votes. But going by what you just said now, none of maybe among Peter Obi's prayer, there is no issue of I won the election there. And of course, when you're talking about the FCT, that has to do with the two-thirds, okay, the interstate and the FCT. You see, Nigerian Constitution is so ambiguous. Its ambiguity now creates avenues, give rooms for people to begin to like give it all manners of interpretation. People, lawyers looking at the leverage on the porosity of the. That's why the likes of Femfala and some people are saying that we should review, or should I say, completely scrap that constitution is a military constitution, that constitution. And if you look at it very, very well, you can really say that is indeed a military constitution. But our National Assembly, they've been trying everything to amend. So you are amending something that you are not the one that actually originated it. It didn't originate from you. For how long will you continue amending? So this ambiguity in the constitution actually gives room for legal luminaries to leverage on, to begin to give it all manners of interpretation. But going by Bashar Lawal, like I've earlier said, Bashar Lawal, anything it says should be viewed from the political angle. It should not be viewed from the constitutional angle. Thank you very much.
Another statement that was credited to Bashar Lawal is the fact that he described the president as arrogant. He said, he admitted that they were friends. Let me read a portion of what he said yesterday. He said, yes, of course, we are friends. You should be able to tell your friends the truth, even on national TV. The last time I spoke with him, Tinubu, was July 2022. The problem with Bola Tinubu is that he thinks that I offended him. I didn't offend him, but he offended me, and he is full of himself because he thinks he is the so-called president. What do you make of this statement?
We're talking about someone being arrogant here. From the statement you just read out now, is there no tone of arrogancy there? I mean, how could you be calling your president Bola Tinubu? Even no matter what you have said, I mean, incorporate his status of President Bola Tinubu. Look, if a boy of 10 years old become a grand president or any president of any country, it should be referred or it should be referenced as a president. Now, he said it's arrogant. Then, from what you just read out now, who can we say that is more arrogant here in this context? Look, to me, I'll just see Bashar Lawal as somebody that is pained. And when someone is pained, there's nothing you do.
What do you think is the origin of Bashar Lawal's pain?
It's because of he was not nominated to be the current president's running mate then. He actually justified for it. Him and this former speaker, Dogara.
Yakubu Dogara.
Those are the two most prominent Christians in the northern region of Nigeria. So they are already saying that because they believe that with what happened then in 1993, that it cannot repeat itself again. But when it comes to election, within an election, it has to do with number. That's what they call tyranny of number. You leverage on the numbers.
And you think that Bashar Lawal wouldn't have brought in the same number that Shetima brought in?
We should not deceive ourselves. As far as the northern Nigeria is concerned, no Christian, I repeat, no Christian can gather a political clout that a Muslim will gather in northern Nigeria. Okay, let's look at it from this angle. Look at the northeast, the northwest. That is where the bulk of the vote is coming from. If not for Beavers recently, that is beginning to prone it down, then is what we know ourselves. The numbers of votes that do come. If a vote should come from maybe Kano or Katsina, it can upturn the entire vote from the south. Then, but it's a process. You understand? So Bashar Lawal or Dogara or any Christian, even you know that the case of the CDS, being a Christian from southern Kaduna, is generating controversy. Okay, look at the case of Ami FCT. How could they be saying that the FCT is not meant for a Christian? It's not from the Federal Capital Territory. Is that a religious sentence again? Is it not the FCT? Can't anybody come from to become the FCT minister? So it could be as bad as that. So Bashar Lawal or Dogara, there is no political clout that they can pull to have garnered the kind of vote that the current vice president garnered in the last election. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If you just joined us in the middle of the program is Political Perspective on iPower 102.7 FM. And I have been discussing with a social analyst, Mr. Akin Adebayo, and we have been discussing burning issues across our nation today. Because of our time, we'll call it a day at this point. Mr. Akin Adebayo, your passing shot to Nigerians.
Well, my passing shot to Nigerians is that we all should just be very, very careful and make sure that we go by the law, by the rules. Because in a case whereby if you know you are not influential, just play it cool. Downplay things. Don't always prove your right and what have you. Because of proving one's right, it could be somewhat detrimental. But that doesn't mean that whenever you think your rights is being infringed upon, that you cannot press charges. It is better for you to play it cool and press charges than for you to want to like prove your right at that point in time, whereby you'll be embarrassed or disgraced. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Akin Adebayo. A wise man once said that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Let us stay vigilant. My name is Alaba Adeyemi. Goodbye.